captain seat. So you do see the team of Rudyak, Kastle, and Dougherty. You see on the left the team of Davis, Tietze, and Ingram. So we're going to start in our middle match. We're going to start with Darwin Kastle and Max Tietze. And for Tietze, we see him a little earlier. He's got a very aggressive red-white deck. He's got chain
white-red.
I should say. He has 11 planes and 5 mounts. He's got Chained to the Rocks. He's got 2 God's Willings. He has a Heliod, God of the Sun, and a whole lot of other fun things hiding out in there as well. Kastle, red-black.
Darwin's deck is his main deck is almost a mono red deck. It's red with just a touch of black in it. We've seen both games he's opted to sideboard into a black splashed red deck. And he did it against both an aggressive and a controlling opponent, which makes me think it may be one of those situations where he just realized his game 2 deck's better than his game 1 deck.
Sure.
Certainly happens in Sealed. That said, his game deck 1 deck, very aggressive and on the play, so may even be better right now.
Yeah, and he's going to start the show off with the Deathbellow Raider. So the 2/3 that has to attack every turn. He does have black mana in his deck, so he can regenerate if necessary. But it doesn't look like he has any in his hand.
I don't think, not only does he not have a black mana in his hand, I don't believe he has a mana in his hand.
A little surprising to see Tietze off to a much slower start here this game.
Yeah, Deathbellow Raider, as we've seen in these red mirrors, is really a powerful card just because its stats are bigger than most of the other red cards.
Yeah.
So it matches up really well. Now, the word of caution is that Max is actually more of a white deck than a red deck. So he's going to have more like synergy plays, more heroic things. But Kastle off to a great start.
Yeah, curving out just fine. His Deathbellow Raider is going to come in for 2. Going to put Tietze down to 18. Tietze is going to play a Plains, and we'll see what he's going to follow up with.
Yeah, and I do like, Castle's aggressive approach here. He makes the Bronze Sable to complement Deathbellow Raider. Sable, just an actual Goblin Piker, but I like that it continues the ability just to make a creature every turn.
Tietze's going to come out here with a Flame Speaker Adept. That's going to be a 2/3 in the house. Going to be able to do some brick walling here.
Yeah, a huge draw for Kastle. He actually drew the swamp he needed this turn.
Okay.
So. And if you remember Castle's game 1 deck, it has triple Titan Strength in it. That's the 1 mana plus 3/1 trick, which gives him the ability really just to always make favorable trades.
I'd be pretty surprised here if if Tietze doesn't block. Tietze methodical player. I think he's going to think this decision through, but put 2/3 against a 2/3. Of course, Kastle has to attack with his creature every turn, so it doesn't feel like it's something where he's bluffing. It's just like, I have to attack, so in we go.
Well, yeah, the Deathbellow Raider, actually, the must attack clause kind of disguises any bluff that you might want to run. The thing is, if Tietze isn't blocking here, the question is, like, what is he waiting for? Maybe if he has a God's Willing or some other trick in his hand that scries, maybe he's waiting for that. But especially when you're on the back foot like this, I think you just need to call plays and trade when possible.
Yeah, plus if he has a trick, it's going to be likely he'll have a trick that might end up being his entire turn. There's a chance that it is Titan Strength, but it's not always going to be Titan Strength, so it looks like this time it is going to be.
It's going to be something, yeah, and it is Titan Strength.
And again, even if he's Titan Strength in this, I think this is like a pretty good trade, right? He's trading a 2/3, like he's killing your 2/3, but like the 2/3 isn't the greatest creature in the world, so I think you might just be okay with that.
Yeah, and I believe we have a Lightning Strike on the top then for Kastle. The danger is Tietze is getting really far behind on the board. Because Titan Strength is only 1 mana, Castle's able to use the combat trick and then commit another creature in the Death Toll Harpy. The saving grace for Max here is that the Bronze Sable is only kind of a creature right now.
Yeah.
There's so many cards that make it not a creature that it's really like 2.5 creatures to 0 right now.
If you're Kastle, you have to really hope that that Tietze doesn't have a card in his deck like a Spark Jolt. But we know that he doesn't.
Spark Jolt would be really a good one.
So Tietze's going to tap 3 mana here after playing a Plains for the turn. See what his follow-up is going to be. As we do see on the top here, Peter Ingram does have that match win already. So if you guys are wondering, did he win a fast match with his blue-black deck? He does not. Rudyak did get a game loss. So again, Ingram is going to be already starting up a match. You see Observant Alseid, 2/2 Vigilance, show up to the party.
Yeah, so the Alseid really can only trade with the Sable here, so it's not an ideal creature. Max will probably just make any trade possible.
I think he has to, right?
He's actually taking all of it. So, question is he playing Hopeful Eidolons at all? Is there some reason he wouldn't want to make that
He has
play?
1 Hopeful Eidolon in his main deck. The second one is in his sideboard. I'm a little bit surprised not to see him just try to trade resources here, but he chooses not to and just passes the turn back.
Yeah, he made Borderland Minotaur, actually, so he just Kastle added a 4/3 to his board.
Yeah, just keeps adding to the board here with just creatures that are just going to keep pressuring Tietze. And now it's Tietze's job to try to keep his head above water, which you can clearly tell he's having a difficult job doing.
Yeah, so we are. Tietze is going to have to play. So he's right now, if you can sometimes talk about games in terms of spell count. Right now, Kastle has played 5 spells to Max's 2, which actually is pretty, being +3 is a really dangerous place to be. I said, though, Max does have Hopeful Eidolon.
Yeah, you did call it. So it's going to be +1/+1. The question here now is he does play Hopeful Eidolon to make the L-Seed a 3/3 that has Vigilance and Lifelink. Is he going to get into the red zone right now? Or, and if he does get in the red zone, is he happy with basically the trade here? Now, he could get into the red zone and then have a God's Willing to make this turn great for him.
Right.
By giving this guy Pro Red, he'd be able to gain life, be able to scry, and he does have 2 God's Willing in his deck, but is it worth it?
Even if he doesn't have the trick, this is a really interesting play to make. So say it makes Kastle's attacks next turn more difficult. He can only swing the Giant and the Harpy, which is why he wouldn't attack even if he has no trick. So if he attacks right now, they trade, and Kastle swings the team, deals 6. If he doesn't attack, then what does Kastle swing with? He's going to have to swing with the Raider, but that's annoying because, that's like going to just donate 3 life to Max. So we'll swing like the Raider, the 4/3, and the 2/1. Max can just block the Raider with the Eidolon, and then it either takes Darwin's whole turn, and Darwin actually doesn't get very far, or he lets it die, in which case it's going to then trade with the Minotaur next turn. There's a lot of, just as a blocker here, it's pretty powerful.
So Tietze is going to go with no attack here again. We know that Kastle has a Lightning Strike in his hand, which will take care of the L-Seed, but, they'll leave Tietze with a Hopeful Eidolon, which will be a very small little creature, so not a big deal.
Big test as to whether or not, if Tietze doesn't have the God's Willing, then this Lightning Strike could very well end the game for him.
Well, Kastle's going to go for it. It says, Lightning Strike, take care of your guy. Do you have God's Willing?
I believe there are 2 God's Willings in Max's deck,
There are,
and boom.
He's got one of them.
So at least because he did it, and it doesn't really matter that he did it this way. I was going to say, at least now he doesn't attack into it, but unfortunately the Deathbellow Raider doesn't care. He wants to attack.
Yeah.
He doesn't care what Darwin has to say about it.
Yeah, got to eat that alive. So Lightning Strike has been countered. Pro Red, get out of here.
So does Darwin have the 5th land to regenerate it?
That's a good question. We're going to find out.
Interestingly enough, so say he has the 5th land, do you regenerate it? Do you want a guy who's just going to keep running into a 3/3 lifelinker?
Oh, I suppose that's a good question, actually.
That's really annoying. It's just, you're just going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Basically commit your mana to have to keep doing that.
And your opponent gains 3. So maybe just let the guy kill himself. I don't know. So Darwin's going to be set back this turn. Max is going to gain 3, take 2. Less than ideal.
Wow.
I am very surprised by this attack.
Well, you eat that 4/3 immediately.
It has Pro Red.
Yeah.
Why? This attack really confuses me.
Me too.
Especially because it lets Max swing back with the Eidolon.
Yeah, this deck is
Alsaid.
very, very confusing me because, what are you doing by making this attack? So Max is going to up to 14 from blocking because he's going to gain 3 life. Then he's going to go down. He's going to take 2, 4, 6.
So he takes 3 total.
Yeah. So now he's going to go down to 8,
and
then he gets to get in. So it goes down to 11. And then we're in the same board state, except for Kastle doesn't have a 4/3.
Yes, it's a 0. It's going to do 0 damage.
Yeah. Assuming that everything goes the way that we think it's going to go, which is Tietze puts this L-Seed that's a 3/3 in front of the 4/3 Minotaur.
And then your 2/3's going to attack into the stupid 3/3 again. And he doesn't.
He blocks here?
I'm very surprised. Why he wouldn't block the 4/3?
I am with you on this one. I am very confused.
He has Pro Red, right? There's no reason to.
Yeah, it has to have Pro Red, or it would be dead from Searing Spear, or from Lightning. Lightning Strike. Thank you. I just want to keep calling it Searing Spear.
I wonder if both players missed it. It's possible that both players missed it. It still had the residual Pro Red.
Yeah.
That's surprising. These are both really experienced players. I have trouble thinking that they both missed it. Maybe they're seeing it on a level that we aren't seeing it. Either way, Max will drop to 6 as a result.
Yeah, he gets to go up to 9 this turn.
He's still in a really good position because he gets this attack.
Yep, so he's going to start here.
So we'll go up to 9. 9 and 16 become life totals. And 6 lands in play, and I think he still has a pretty full grip.
He's got spells. We know that.
The tides are going to turn.
Tap out for one of them. What's this going to be?
Okay, so he actually, that's the play. He blocks the 2/3 Max so that he can cast Vanquish the Foul. It destroys creatures with power 4 or greater. That was the only target on Darwin's side.
Okay. All right, that makes more sense now. Now everything
I
has
still
been
don't understand
revealed.
Darwin's side of it. I
Sure.
don't understand why he sends the 4-3. I think he kind of lucked out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can predict that series of events.
Yeah,
I get to get my 4-3 in here because I know my opponent has Vanquish to File, and that's the only target for my Vanquish to File. I don't think that's what you can predict there, but either way, he is able to get the 4 damage through with the Minotaur. See, Castle's going to tap 5 lands, so it looks like Rage of Porphyros is going to take down the Alseid.
Yep. So that's 4 damage. Scry 1. He sees another Deathbellow Raider on top. It's tough to say whether he wants it. My guess is he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's
2-3 late game is really annoying. He makes stupid attacks.
he's gonna keep it.
Just wants, and he does. He can potentially tie up all 3 of those mana for the rest of the game.
That's true. I mean, at this point, maybe he just wants another body.
Wow, and he hopeful Eidolon doing so much work. It's gonna get the trade with Bronze Sable here too.
I would think it's gonna get the trade, but
Well, it either gets the trade, which is great, or if Max isn't trading it, that's even worse for Darwin because it means that he has bigger, better things in store.
yeah, he's
for
probably
it.
got like something with Bestow. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so he is going to trade off here, and Max is going to end up taking 1 from
be
this
like,
exchange.
Max would, bestow another Alseid on it and you'd be like, oh, gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max has stabilized for the most part here. I guess he's still on a 4-turn Glock from this Blood Toll Harpy.
Yeah, you're not comfortable at 8 life against a red-black deck.
No, but he's made progress.
So we've got 4 mana. It's funny right now that, if he has Heliod, it's not very good.
Not Heliod, but he does have his Emissary.
Okay.
So 3-3, it's going to tap a blocker. That's a really aggressive ability. Not a very aggressive board state for Max, so it's pretty much just a 3-3.
I really feel like that was the draw step, and he didn't know he was going to draw that. Because I think if he did know he was going to draw that, then he would have kept.
The Emissary.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the bestow cost on that is 7.
Which he doesn't have the mana.
Yeah,
for.
which he doesn't have the mana for. So.
Yeah, some was that the red and white one are 7 for the emissaries, and the others are 6,
Mm-hmm.
I believe. And speaking of emissaries, we have another one. This is going to be Perforos' emissary.
So that's the red emissary in the house there for Kastle. Tietze going to draw his card. And you see the bestow cost on the red one is 7 as well.
Yeah, so that last card in Castle's hand we know is the Deathbellow Raider.
Yep.
That'll be played probably played next turn unless Kastle draws something better. He has right now 5 power worth of unblockable creatures. Just need to sneak across that last 6 damage.
See what Tietze has hanging out in his hand. Doesn't look like he has any other ways to gain life. Again, he has just one Hopeful Eidolon in his main deck, and the other one is in his sideboard. Wouldn't be surprised to see the other one come in for the sideboarded game, but we're not there yet. So Tietze is going to go reaching. I think he has all spells in his hand. The question is, what are the spells that he's holding?
Alright, he's going to start out with
It's a good start.
3-2, and he does have an enchantment in play as well.
And he's going to play the Lagona Band Elder.
Yeah.
He's just going to pass the turn, so no attacks. Looking to attempt to double block here.
Yeah, it's just fine making trades, gaining life. Still doesn't have an answer to Blood Toll Harpy. And we do see Deathbellow Raider.
Ready to regenerate. Tietze draws his card. Didn't quite make it out what it was. If you're Tietze, just trying to get to a stable board position.
Yeah, it's really just the Harpy that's stopping the board from stabilizing. This is closer. We have Heliod,
Yep.
God of the Sun.
You see Castle's going to take a look. We're going to bring it up as well. Of course, it does give every other creature you control vigilance, so Heliod does not have vigilance, but you can start pumping out creatures as well. At the end of the day, as good as Heliod is, a mythic rare, the Blood Toll Harpy is the biggest problem right now.
Yeah, Heliod's Emissary here can attack. It can tie up some mana from Kastle if he wants. He could he's going to attack with Heliod's Emissary and tap the Deathbellow Raider.
Which I like a lot.
Well, this is a trade that Kastle may make because then he can swing when he swings back with Deathbellow Raider. It actually gets to eat a creature.
That's true. That is true.
Because Max has this stream of 2/1s, it seems unlikely that Perforos' Emissary is going to do much better than trade with this Heliod's Emissary. I almost think that Kastle makes the trade.
It looks like he did make the trade. We'll see if Tietze has a trick, and it looks like he does. It looks like it's a Battle-Wise Valor, so +2/+2 and Scry 1. Looks like things are maybe turning in his favor.
Yeah.
So, Ingram is going to win his match 2-0 over Rudyak. Again, he did win in game 1 because of that decklist error from Rada's side, so he was already up a game, and he wins in game 2 with his blue-black deck, as you're going to see Tietze play that Plains past the turn back.
All right, So 6th land for Darwin. Both creatures attack. One because he wants to, the other because it has to.
Yep. So there's an easy block. There's an easy generate from Kastle. He's going to go down to 5. You take a look at the white mana symbols out there as well. Looks like we have 3, correct?
Yeah, I mean, so if Max is down to 5, but if he can establish devotion for that Heliod, this race actually can go in Max's favor.
Mm-hmm. He's got to draw some spells, though. I mean, the nice thing here for Max is if he doesn't draw spells, he can pump out creatures. So he's in a great position, and heaven forbid he draws a 3-mana spell, which he did.
Oh, wow. And it has 2 white mana symbols in its cost, too, I
This
believe.
guy-
That's mana symbols, I think, number 4 and 5.
That may be perfect.
That's
Is that the
pretty
one you're
good. That's
looking
a
for?
good draw. I think that's above average for this board state. So this is an attack for, 11. All right. Why, yes.
Oh, how the tides have turned on this game, my friends.
Yeah, and enough mana to leave back to get another 2/1 blocker to activate Heliod. Heliod actually does not give him, we learned earlier, actually does not have vigilance himself. He just grants vigilance to everybody else.
And in a game that Kastle looked like he was doing quite well in, Tietze has been able to not only stabilize, but now turn the corner, and he's the one attacking Kastle, and Castle's the one with the lower life total. But I suppose that happens when a god comes online.
Yep, and it looks like Kastle actually is going to be 1 damage short. He has a Spear Point Oread in hand, and he has enough to put, well, Max has a chump block.
Yeah, he
so
is the
that
wing
doesn't-
steed
okay.
rider, yeah. And if he were, I think that if Kastle even attacks her, I think it's an immediate block, because you just don't want to lose something like
you have a
lightning strike.
Heliod.
Yeah.
Even though that deactivates Heliod, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think that you are immediately blocking. Your board position is much better than your opponent's, and you just don't want to lose to something ridiculous that you didn't play around.
Bloodtoll Harpy was the only card that Max was actually losing to, so he'll take any chance he can to get it off the battlefield.
Sideways come the creatures.
Well, this
Now-
attack's just not lethal.
Yeah,
You
now
just-
now that you're working with very good information here, you want to make sure that it doesn't trample. You know exactly what it does, which is +2/+2 and first strike. So the Deathblow Raiders are 4/5 that must attack and has first strike. So I think all that Max does here is he makes a token, he
Max,
blocks.
He just has to say the word block. And
Yeah,
it's over.
and I don't even think he needs to block the flyer. But I guess Castle's a 2, so it doesn't really matter. And so Kastle just makes him go through the motions. Tietze does, and that's going to give the game to Max Tietze.
All right. So we're going to bring you back into the booth here as why don't you, as we tend to do at Star City Open.
Yeah, we do trivia, of course. And so what we normally do is we do quarterfinals, we give away 3 months. Semifinals, we give 6 months. Finals, we give away 12 months. But as you'll notice, in a team tournament, we don't have quarterfinals. So we're just going straight to 6 months. No fooling around here. So it's pretty easy what we're going to do. You're going to be my questionnaire, correct?
All right.
You're going to
All right,
ask the
yep.
questions. I'm going to explain the rules.
Okay,
Then the
go
question.
for it first.
So the rules, of course, is get your Twitters open, everybody. Matthias is going to ask you a question. You're going to tweet your answer with the hashtag of SCG Premium. What we'll do is we are going to announce the winner at the conclusion of this top 4. And it is about accuracy, not speed, because, again, we're going to be announcing the winner at the conclusion of the round. So Matthias is going to ask you a question. It's going to have an answer. Probably won't be too difficult.
Right.
And, again, hashtag SCG Premium.
There is this. It's a little vague, but it's actually a unique answer, so we're good. All right,
Okay.
we have seen Max Tietze's red-white deck on camera before.
Correct?
It's actually done very well. I don't believe it's lost on camera yet.
I haven't seen it lose yet.
Okay, so I'm looking for what, and this is a specific thing, what white enchant land is featured in Max Tietze's red-white sealed deck. And that's actually all the detail I need. There's only one answer to it.
You're right, actually.
Yeah.
You're right. It's a good question.
That's all we have. So we're looking for a white, and I did, by telling you his archetype, I'm giving you a small hint.
A tiny one.
Just a small one.
a
So
small
go
one.
through, if
A
you've
pebble.
been watching earlier, you saw it win a game for him.
That's accurate.
Yeah,
Actually,
it
it was
insane.
It was actually insane the game that he drew and
But
cast it.
if you missed and you just joined us, well, you're gonna have to do a little bit more work. You're gonna be like, wow, well, I need something that fits the criteria of the question. And once again, what white enchant land is in Max Tietze's red-white sealed deck?
You know the answer, hashtag SCG Premium. And we'll announce the winner at the conclusion of this round as we're going to cut back to our matches. Again, Peter Ingram has won his, so he is up on that side. You see, we see Jim Davis. He's playing against Rob Dougherty, the Hall of Famer. Max Tietze in the middle against another Hall of Famer and Darwin Kastle. But right now, the Hall of Famers back are against a proverbial wall right now.
Rudyak has already lost her match to Peter Ingram. We see Rudyak behind the 2 Hall of Famers there. Ingram in blue, just barely maybe can see him behind Jim Davis and Max Tietze.
See, we are going to go to Davis versus Dougherty. We'll make sure that those life totals are correct. But they are not correct, and we're going to get
Those
them
are from
updated.
last match.
I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Wouldn't be surprised to be walking into a 5-2 game here either.
And we have a Leaf Crown Dryad and Vulpine Goliath facing off against Spearpoint Oriad and Nylea's Disciple. Dougherty's deck, as we've seen, is a base green deck with 3 Nylea's Presences and splashing for all sorts of things.
And we see a life totals here of 26 to 18 between Dougherty and Davis.
Lots of big things.
Yeah, no kidding. Lots of life gain going on here, too, as Davis is going to untap. See that Opal unicorn over there?
He had a bunch of other things. He had 3 mana creatures.
Yeah.
Pardon me, there were 3 other creatures. I thought they were off to the side and maybe the graveyard, but they are not.
He's going to draw even more mana because he just drew the Nithless Shrine to Nykthos, excuse me.
Okay, so what is the big... So Nykthos has the potential here, if it's set to green, to make 4 green. It can start making a lot of extra mana. Remember, it's like the Cabal Coffers-ish card.
Yep.
It triggers a devotion. So so right now it taps for 2 mana. You know, he pays 2, he gets 4, so it's +2. He goes for green. What are the large things in his deck that he can play? You know, what are the things he's ramping up to?
Big stuff that that Davis can do. Most of it is monstrosity. He's got 2 copies of Nessian Asp that he can work with here. He's also got, let's take a look. I know he's got Ember Swallower, but we're a little ways away from that. He also has a Boulder Fall in his deck as well that he can cast.
That's already a lot of game. That's
yeah, I mean, those are real things. Polish Crusher as well is something that he can also monstrosity out. It doesn't look like he has any of that stuff in play right now.
He has both red and green Disciples in hand, along with that Nykthos. And actually, with the Nykthos, he has access to 2, 4, 6, 8, 11 mana at this point. Or sorry, 12 mana, because the Voyaging Satyr can untap the Nykthos.
Okay. So all the mana.
Cute little interest. He can have 12. Which, unfortunately for him he would need 13 to bestow both the cards in his hand. So he's 1 short. He has to play them 1 at a time.
All right, in we go.
First Emissary is Nylea's.
Yep.
So by putting the Nylea's Emissary on Spearpoint Oriad, he has a 5/5 first strike that could hold off Vulpine Goliath for now.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah. Until the green deck plays maybe an aura of its own. There are a couple auras in this set.
Tell me more. I like that little fox is deemed a Goliath. I think that's probably my favorite thing in this set.
It's huge. Have you seen the art? It's huge.
It doesn't look like a very big fox to me.
It's as big as the trees.
All right.
Yeah,
well, that thing's huge.
That is the nemesis of all mortals. It costs... It's really an aggressively costed card. As a 5/5 or 6, it's still fine. Turns into a 10/10.
Yeah.
It's been great in the matches we've seen it so far today.
So that'll be Dougherty's play. He's going to pass the turn back to Davis.
All right. So on Davis's side, we see a green drawn. It looks like another copy. His second copy of Nessian Asp actually drawn. So. Another large monstrous creature on his side. I don't know if it's monstrous enough to tangle with Nemesis of Mortals, but it'll certainly try. It can demand a double block at the very least if it gets the help of the Emissary that's in Davis's hand. And this green mirror is just battle of Colossuses.
Yeah, it's big dummies.
Yeah.
It's big dummies running at each other. This can't happen in green mirrors. The question is just which player has the better cards to draw to in this situation. Right now, it looks like Rob has the biggest, dumbest idiot right now in Nemesis of Mortals.
It's going to be a 10/10.
Yeah.
Soon. It's hard to get bigger than that.
I think Davis is going to reorganize his mana, try to craft a game plan here. Going to play the Shrine. Looks like he's going to go activating, maybe? He is. You see Dougherty's going to take a look at it. Of course, this is that Cabal Coffer's land, as you mentioned, equal to the amount of devotion. Pick a color, any color.
So it's actually 5 now, thanks to the Nylea's Emissary. And because the Satyr can untap it, he can actually go ahead and play in Monstrous that Nessian Asp right away if he wants.
Yeah, the amount of mana that Jim's deck can make is almost endless. That's the thing that he really likes about his deck, is he can accelerate out large threats and then monstrosity them right away with no difficulty whatsoever. Makes for a scary deck to play against. Dougherty going to draw his card.
Alright, so on Rob's side, he's really probably going to invest his mana in monstrosing Nemesis of Mortals. We see another Nylea's Bounty. Ernelia's Presence, sorry, on the enchant land. So that at very least cycles for some more action. The bigger issue in this is that you have to make sure that when you swing, you aren't over swinging. Like you have to make sure that the swing back isn't lethal, especially because the creatures don't trample, with the exception of Vulpine Goliath.
See, Davis going to do exactly what we thought he would do, which is using the Voyaging Satyr to untap and then activate the monstrosity on the Nessian Asp.
And
so big.
Huge draw from there. He drew Time to Feed. So Time to Feed, you have these big creatures, really huge creatures. Now they can fight each other. The Nessian Asp could become an 11-12, which is big enough to feed on the Nemesis of Mortals. And that's creature magic is best when my 11-12 fights your 10-10 and wins gain 3 life.
It makes it pretty awesome.
That's a lot of really big things being thrown around. I can't imagine we see something else happen here.
We'll see. Davis going to take his time to think things through here. Complicated board state here, especially when your opponent's sitting at 29 and things are getting gummed up. See, Davis is going to start by adding a bunch of mana to his mana pool yet again.
So now that taps for 6, so that's 6 green. So he needs a 1 red to go with it. At least it's likely that he bestows this on Nessian Asp. Remember that Voyaging Satyr can untap that shrine, so he just actually has 100,000 mana.
Approximately. You've done the math as you are.
Yep, I do math. Yeah. So yes, it is 100,000 mana that he can make here. Exactly.
So now you'll see the Perforce Emissary going to be bestowed.
Yep. So it is now up to an 11-12 that must be double blocked.
4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 4, 8. Yep, you got it.
And it's going to go ahead and fight Nemesis
somehow that's,
Immortals.
Yeah, unless Dougherty has something.
That's real. The Nemesis Immortals is getting eaten in a fight.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
Things I did not expect to see today. I mean, at least it's going to try to. Time to feed. Indeed. Does Rob have? I don't think Rob has anything.
Count, that last card, if it is the flat, was it Feral Invocation?
Yeah.
Dougherty has, I don't believe, enough mana to monsters and play Feral Invocation.
The card I think that he's sandbagging in his hand is a Leaf-Crown Dryad, I believe, to go along with the enchant land.
To me as well. If only he had put the Leaf-Crown Dryad on the Nemesis Immortals, then he could monster sit and make it a 12-12.
Yeah.
I don't think he doesn't have mana for that play.
Yeah.
Man, sometimes 10-10 is just not big enough. It needs to be 12-12 so you can play around at the time to feed.
Yeah, you thought a 10-10 was going to be good enough? I don't think so.
This is a green mirror. What were you thinking?
It was time to feed, said Jim Davis. And so now...
Game 3.
Yep, he's going to... up to 21. And the question now is Jim going to actually attack with this creature? Because it does have damage on it from the fight.
Yeah, he has to. He most certainly does not.
Yeah, I think you hold off this turn and then you move in next turn. But he might take a different line of play here.
He can still swing his 5/5 first strike if he cares to. That's pretty
true.
good.
I don't hate that.
It would die if Dougherty triple blocks it.
But you're going to clear some things out of the way, which I think is super important here for Jim. Is he just needs to start clearing stuff out of the way.
Once he clears things out of the way, then, I mean, by clearing anything out of the way, it means it's less and less likely that Nessian Asp is going to get killed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only way Nessian Asp gets killed right now is if Rob just throws everything in front of it, but if he can manage to trade with something, which then that won't even work.
Let's see, Rob's going to take a look.
5/5 first strike trample. I'm guessing he's going to go to 24. And
it looks like you're correct. He can use his life total as a resource now.
Yeah, well, he needs to try to kill Nessian Asp is the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
We see he draws another Lagana Band Elder. That buys him some time. None of them trample. The Oread does trample.
Yeah.
The Asp does need to be double blocked.
I think gaining 3 life is not irrelevant here. It's not great. This is going to go up to 27, but it's not irrelevant if you're looking for positives. Dougherty going to play.
All right, so Vulpine Goliath up to a 8/7 now.
Goliath online.
Not big enough yet.
Yeah, give it some time. Need some upgrades. Gonna go to the armory soon. Jim draws a card, Swamp. Already had access to that through the Opine Unicorn.
Yep. So a land. I mean, Davis' deck still does have some lands left, but they're not in great draws right now. But his board is just so. It's very powerful.
Yeah, and if he draws one monstrosity creature, it just changes everything. If he draws, I mean, Ember Swallower isn't great for the land destruction part of it, but the fact that it would be a 7/8 is actually what matters about it right now.
Well, actually, I think the land destruction is pretty good for Jim Davis.
I don't think it's terrible. What do you think? I don't think it's like I think there is some relevance among it, but like I don't think that's the important part of monstrosity with Ember Swallower right now.
And I agree too. That's it's the fact that it's a 7/8 is the relevant part.
He just wants to draw big creatures the rest of the way.
The question is do you trade? If you trade Nessie and Asp, you will get just 2 creatures. You'll get Vulpine Goliath and a Lagana Band Elder for it.
Mm-hmm. So Davis is going to go reaching here for his big Nessie and Asp. Again, sitting at a 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 power creature.
Yep. So it's 11, 12.
Yep.
So actually, Dougherty will have to triple block it if he wants to kill it.
Yep.
Which you have to imagine he's going to do.
Yeah, Jim is offering up this attack here. He has to be blocked by 2 or more creatures.
All right, and so we see he's going to put everything in front of it. 5, so he counts, yep, that's 11. And the Leaf Crown Dryad makes it 13. That should be enough.
This is a trade you're happy with if you're Jim?
No, not really.
I kind of feel the same. I kind of feel the same way.
I'd rather do this attack when I have a combat trick.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can wait until then, but no, because the problem is that I didn't think that Dougherty could answer this guy, and once it's gone, I'm thinking Dougherty may actually be able to answer the remainder of the board.
That's how I feel too. I mean, he is going to get a 3/3 out of the deal because the emissary is going to come back, and he is going to be able to clear some things out of the way. But I'm kind of with you on this one, in which, I have this 11/12 that's really difficult to block, and I don't want to make a move until maybe I have another big creature in play.
It's just not big enough.
Yeah,
I want to put more auras on it.
Or like a trick or something.
What does Magic come to where I see an 11/12 and I'd be like, how can I put more auras on it?
Yeah, not good enough.
Now, but the worst part is that's the first place my mind goes. I need to play more auras.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh gosh, really? Oh man.
Well, he has cleared some stuff out of the way here. He leaves Dougherty with 2 copies of Leaf Crown Dryads and looks like a Sylvan Caryatid.
So, okay, this board is pretty good for Dougherty, to be fair.
For Dougherty or for Davis?
For Davis, sorry,
okay.
for Davis. He has a bunch of 3/3s and his opponent's board's all 2/2s.
Okay.
Then the 5/5 first strike can't be answered right now. We're going to see what can Dougherty recoup with, though. Is that is that his graveyard? Is that his hand? Does he have another Nemesis?
That's his hand, yeah.
He's placed Tietze has 2 of them?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Jim says, where's that one?
I'm the one with the deck list. Yes, no, he does have 2, and the second one's drawn. That's 2 to cast, meaning he has 4 guys in his graveyard, so it's going to go ahead and monsters for 5, which Dougherty has right here.
Yeah, and again, he doesn't have to activate it right now. He can activate whenever he wants to.
So, yeah, well, if you get rid of your opponent's first 10/10, you have to make sure you can answer his second 10/10.
Things just took a turn.
Whew, this is a lot of big stuff. A lot of really, really huge creatures. So you said there's the Ember Swallower left in Davis's deck. Not big enough.
I mean, he's got Pulkranos left too. He has a Boulder Fall, which looks pretty bad right now.
So, okay, with Pulkranos.
Or sorry, not Pulkranos, Polish Crusher.
Oh, Polish
My
Crusher.
apologies.
Oh man, I was gonna say Pulkranos.
Pulkranos, yeah.
Would be good enough, but no, Polish Crusher. How does he deal with Nemesis Immortals? That's the question. How many answers does he actually have to Nemesis Immortals? That guy's huge.
I'm not convinced that he has any, right? Time to Feed's gone. He doesn't have a big enough creature to feed with anyway.
He can hit it and Boulder Fall it.
Ugh.
That's I think we're on swing with Spear Point Oriad. First strike damage on Boulder Fall.
That's our great game plan.
I think that's our game plan.
Hey, I guess if that's
kills
what yeah, you're not wrong. It
sure
does
hope
kill
he doesn't
it.
have a pump spell.
Yeah. Sure hope he doesn't have anything.
Life of a green mage is hard.
Voyaging Satyr comes into play.
All right. Davis' deck with a lot of ramp, as you can see here. One of the reasons why it's done so well, I doubt many games have gone this late. We actually saw a green mirror earlier, which was with Ari Lax, I believe, where the true trump card he's playing against Rob Castellan ended up being Colossus of Akros.
Yeah, Rob was mono black, Ari was green black, and that's where that happened.
They got to this board state, and then was it both games? Castellan was like, and Colossus. Well, that is the ultimate trump.
Yeah, it's 10th land, 10th land off the top,
10th land,
activated.
20 you.
Yep.
Like, oh, well, I die. Yes. And then that both games, I remember, ended that way. Now these players have the Colossus. The Nemesis of Reason is close to being a trump. The difference is that unlike Colossus, its mana costs are actually attainable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Colossus is attainable, I guess. In this game, Colossus would be great, but...
Yeah, Colossus. I mean, Colossus is a card that... is that the bow? Oh, boy. Oh,
so that's
boy.
on Rob's side.
Yeah.
Bow.
Bow Nylea.
Yeah, the Bow of Nylea. I hope he starts putting counters on the Nemesis Immortals.
Yeah, this is going to get tough.
It's going to keep just be like, well, if I pull this out of range... the question is actually, does he have the wherewithal to make that play, you think, of putting counters on Nemesis? As opposed to, you'd pump the Nemesis as opposed to pumping one of your Dryads.
It's possible. Additionally, I mean, yeah, now he gets to make... God, this is so hard for Jim. Yeah, because now he just gets to go, attack. My thing has Death Touch, so...
Well, it actually can kill now. Rob has offered the opportunity for Jim to kill it. If Jim throws everybody in front of it, and then everybody will die. Yeah, and he'll take the Nemesis with it.
You are right in the fact that he can get it off the table.
I think he has to. This is one of his only chances to get it off the table.
But at what cost?
I mean, it's huge, terrible. Cost I don't want to pay. But I'm going to pay. It's like it's that terrible situation you get in.
Yeah, this is a bad spot here.
I know,
we already knew Bo was good, but
I mean, he can either all the power he has on the table, he has 14 power on the table. So he can, if he wants to save one of his 3/3s, he's going to have to throw all 3 of the mana creatures in front of it.
Yeah.
And that'll be enough. Because remember, it could become an 11/11. So you have to make sure that you put 11 power in front of it.
Do you want to play around a combat trick, or are you just saying?
No, I just pray he doesn't.
I think it's a cross your finger situation. Just hope he doesn't have one.
I mean, there's also the issue right now that when this is all said and done here, you're going to have Green Emissary. You're going to have Nylea's Emissary because the Oriad's going to die. And you're going to have to somehow manage to beat this Bow of Nylea, which is going to gain 3 life, and you don't even have 3 power left on the board.
Yeah.
So Davis, instead of killing it, is going to try to chump block it for the rest of the game and race in the Bow.
Mountain the draw step to go on with the Swamp already in Jim's hand. Rob has put together a pretty good board position here over the last 2 or 3 turns. Really has. In a game in which, again, we saw the Nesting has to trade off with a lot of Rob stuff, and we were going, okay, Jim's in the driver's seat now.
Huge swings.
Yeah.
It was the second Nemesis Immortals. Didn't see it coming.
That was the absolute big draw. Nemesis came in, then it got monstrous, and then all of a sudden Bo comes off the top, and now it's like nothing. The things that happened previously, it's like didn't even happen. As Jim's going to come into the red zone here.
And I like how Jim's playing this. This is his only out. It's not enough. The problem is Rob's at 27. He has the ability to gain 3 life a turn, or to just pump a creature, whichever one he chooses. The problem is, like, when he makes one of these these Leaf Crown Dryads a 4/4, then the only thing Davis can swing is the 5/5, and Dougherty will just start gaining 3. He'll just take 2 damage a turn, and that's a race he'll win.
So block skis?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to block with both Dryads. That does trade a Dryad for the Purpuros's Emissary. That's pretty good too.
I think you're very happy with this trade if you're Rob.
Yeah, the second Dryad actually doesn't have too much utility. Yep. He can still start. That plan of putting counters on a Dryad is still on.
Yep.
You're just going to lose the other one, but the other one didn't do much.
See, it's tied up in the middle there between Tietze and Kastle.
Yeah, Darwin Kastle won game 2. Remember, Darwin in every other matchup has sided into a black deck.
Yep.
Which I believe he just thinks is more powerful. So that black deck is able to get in game 2.
And his black sideboard cards include 3 copies of Rika's Cure, and he's playing against a Boros deck. So I think it's a pretty good place to be if you're Kastle.
Yeah, a lot of Rika's Cures are great against creatures with 1 and 2 toughness.
Yep.
Which Max has a lot of.
So there's a Bow activation. Gonna pump up the jam on that Leaf Crown Dryad.
Right, and now Jim has hardly any attacks.
Yeah, this is getting tough for Davis here.
So can the Hall of Famers, with one of their teammates down 2-0 quickly, are they going to be able to pull this out? We saw Darwin just winning and Dougherty looking like he may get his first game.
Yeah.
And it's not that I think it's completely over. It's just that when we're looking at Davis's deck list, most of his heavy hitters have already been played. I don't know how many more things he has to draw to.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? Where, he just doesn't have that many great cards to draw to at this point.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what he's gonna. I don't know how he answers this bow. Post board, he has access to Destructive Revelry, which will almost certainly see him use. But I don't know what he has game 1. Okay, he has Underworld Cerberus.
Yeah, and that card's fine, but I don't think that's the card that's going to win him the game.
Well, if he can chump with it, he gets back 2 Nessie and Asps, but Dougherty gets back a Nemesis of Reason.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's going to get back. Okay, so if an Underworld Cerberus dies, I don't know who's getting back more power and creatures.
Yeah, that's the issue.
It's going to be close.
Davis is going to come into the red zone here yet again.
All right, so now Davis can't attack with the 3/3 because it'll get eaten by Leafcrown Elder. But like I said before, the problem here is that he's dealing 5, but the bow can gain 3 life if Dougherty's worried about damage being dealt. If he's worried about his own life total, I'm not even sure he needs to be, but if he is, he can just gain back 2. Basically just having Jim deal 2 damage a turn, that's a 10-turn clock right now.
Yeah. Ooh, wow.
And Boon Satyr targeting Staunch-Hearted Defender, making it a 8/6. Dougherty's deck just has so much fat. It's so green.
Yeah.
It's just... oh my gosh.
All right, quote of the show goes to you. It's so green.
Look at this. Look how big everything is. Okay. Well, next turn he's just going to attack for 1 billion.
Again, math teacher.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, alright, so we have an 8/6 Staunch-Hearted Warrior and a 10/10 Nemesis of Mortals and a Bow of Nylea. Putting counters on our guys.
All we need is like a Crater Hoof Behemoth right now, and everything will just be perfect.
Colony Hydra.
For all the green mages out there.
I want to see bad plays. What is it? He could right now cast Phosphorescent Feast, and he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 green, 10, 11 green mana symbols on the battlefield. Oh yeah, that'd be sweet too. If he played the Disciple, he would gain 13 life right now. That's how green his board is.
Yeah.
13.
He is safely attacking right now.
Yes.
Daring Davis to block. This game has turned in such a dramatic way.
There's enough devotion to power up 2 up to 3 Nyleas.
The way this game looked 3.5 turns ago is so much different than it looks right now, where I would have just announced that Davis is just going to win the game with how everything was looking. It was just in the driver's seat.
Exactly. But now things have so much turned around.
I can't imagine Dougherty losing this game, but I could be wrong.
You know what Davis's Jund deck is? You'd think it's really well equipped to, this is like battle cruiser magic right now, right? Each card's just insane and they just crash into each other. I believe that term was invented for if you played StarCraft.
That is accurate.
Right? Because I know that you got to this point in the game where I'd build all battle cruisers and you'd build all carriers, and then we just throw them at each other and someone would win. And the idea is you just max out on all the biggest things. And this is battle cruiser magic here. Everyone's like, well, I have a Nemesis Immortals monster. And like, well, I have Staunch-Hearted Warrior and I targeted it 3 times. And you're like, well... You just see who can do the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's not really. There's no really finesse magic here. It's a bunch of haymakers going back and forth.
I did not initially think that Jim's deck could lose in a game of battlecruiser magic.
To be fair, you could argue that this game is a bit of an anomaly because I think that Jim's deck did not draw the cards that make him very good for battlecruiser magic, being Underworld, Cerberus, be it Polish Crusher, be it Ember Swallower as well.
But what would they be doing against what Robert has here? I mean, his stuff's just too big.
Well, I mean, at this point in the game, they wouldn't be useful, but I think what Jim is trying to do is accelerate to those threats and then have them be game-ending threats before Robert is actually able to get set up.
So Jim is one who has to care about tempo. Like Jim has his battle cruisers, but they have to hit the table at a certain early point because if we just all get to play everything we have, then Robert's our bigger.
Yes. As we do have a quick update for you guys, the team of Gerard Fabiano, Eric Smith, and Curtis Shue have won.
So we will be seeing them tomorrow in a team draft against either the team of Ingram, Tietze, and Davis, or Rudyak, Kastle, and Dougherty.
So congratulations to the team of Fabiano, Shu, and Davis. They're
And-
looking for another title.
You know, the biggest thing I've noticed about these team sealed events is that the teams that seem to do well at them, even just top 4, the teams that win them, all are really well established teams. It's like, and then this tends to be true with team formats. It's like, it takes a lot of work to win these ones.
Yeah, it's not only that; it's teams that are like good friends with each other as well. You know, the
Exactly.
Jensen Duke Turtonwald team, the Cowley brothers and Kyle Rose. You see Fabiano, who's good friends with Eric Smith as well. I mean, it's teams that are not only like good Magic players and establish themselves as good Magic players, but teams that obviously work well together. So it looks like Dougherty is going to come to the red zone here with quite a few creatures. That one in the air does have Vigilance. You see Davis checking it out. Looks like Nemesis of Reason. It's going to hang back for a turn. No more beatdowns this turn. A little surprised to see that thing on defense right now. I guess the Death Strike, or excuse me, the Death Touch Scorpion is in play, so.
Yeah, he doesn't complete. I mean, he's gonna have to trade something with the Death Touch Scorpion.
Yeah, I'd rather have it not be my 10/10. So.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Dougherty now has Sentry to the Underworld, that's a great card to put 1/1 counters on.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't ever die. And you have life. If you need to pay life to regenerate it, well, you have a bow to gain life.
Yeah. Everything lines up pretty nice here for Dougherty.
Yeah.
You see Davis' board is would. I've been in this position that Jim has been in before too. Your board is just whittling away as
I
the Green
mean,
Mage while these giant creatures just beating the
more
crap
like-
out of you.
Looking at Robert's board is depressing. How would you deal with all these things? There's an 8/6 and a 10/10 and a 5/5 that regenerates with flying and life, vigilance, and then, oh yeah, there's this really insane artifact. Like, how many things would you have to draw?
How many draw steps would you have to
You'd
take?
have to play, I don't know, Plague Wind to start. That's your first card. Destroy all creatures, they can't be regenerated.
That's step
Your
one.
opponent's creatures.
Yeah,
Step one,
Davis is gonna show-
Step 1, cast Plague Wind.
Davis is going to show the 3 lands in his hand, and he's going to pack it in. So Robert Dougherty is going to win game number 1 over Jim Davis. The Hall of Famers are trying to take this match themselves, as Rudyak was not able to get it done on her end. We're going to cut over to Tietze and Kastle. We'll get our life totals updated for you guys in just a moment.
True to form, Kastle has boarded into the black deck
Yep.
for games 2 and 3. So we see a Flamecast Wheel, expensive kill spell, but kill spell nonetheless, and a Setessan Battle Priest, squaring off against Erebos' Emissary and Baleful Eidolon.
All right, we've got life totals of 18s here in game number 3 between these two players, and if Tietze can take it down, his team comes back in the morning.
If not, they're going to have to battle back from down a game to defeat Robert Dougherty.
Yeah.
Not an easy task. But opening number 1 here for them. I think because Tietze now has to assume the role of an aggro deck, because Kastle had this really aggressive game 1 deck, which didn't work, but I think he now is the control deck in the matchup.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think that Tietze's deck can deviate. Gonna tap that guy, get in for some damage here.
Yeah, the Setessan Battle Priests are actually out of the sideboard right now. They were not in Max's main deck. I believe he's playing them under the impression that Darwin is still the aggressive deck full of 2/3s, but he's not anymore.
No, he has definitely shifted gears. He's shifted into the control deck, and you can see this is just a great example of that. As he's going to play Disciple of Phoenix, he said, let me take a look at the grip, see what you're working
All
with.
right, so we see Observant Alseid, we see God's Willing, and we see 2 Battle-Wise or 1 Battle-Wise Valor. And the last card is Decorated Griffin.
So the thing here for Tietze is that if Kastle's sideboarding into a more control-based strategy, that makes Heliod very, very good in a slow, grinded-out type game. So that is one thing that falls into Tietze's favor, that he just doesn't have Heliod yet.
Right, the Heliod is next to impossible for Darwin to deal with.
Mm-hmm. And for most people, of course.
Yeah, I mean, green can fade it into Antiquity, but what Heliod, if Max manages to draw it, what Heliod will do is it'll force Kastle to play with some sense of urgency,
Yes.
which his deck really doesn't want to do right now. I think it's interesting. It looks like Max also tried to become a semi-controlling deck. White is a way worse of a controlling color than black in this format. So he takes the Battle-Wise Valor, swings with Erebos' Emissary, and Max will drop to 15. So reminding you, if you remember, so the remaining cards in Max's hand is he has the Alseid, the Observant Alseid. He has a Decorated Griffin. And the third card was God's Willing.
Which makes it easier for Kastle because he knows he can play around it here. And so now, Tietze actually draws and plays a different spell for the turn, Flame Speaker Adept.
Which, okay, the thing is that he leaves off white. Darwin knows that there's a God's Willing in Max's hand, but there's not much he can do about it.
Kastle looks like he's got a couple lands in his hand. There's another Disciple.
Oof.
Jeez.
So second Disciple, that'll see Max's entire hand again.
Do you think he casts God's Willing here?
I don't think so. I don't want to just go -1 card.
Yeah, me either.
I want to keep my cards. I mean, you're going to lose the God's Willing here.
Yeah.
But I think he gets rid of it.
Now you see him consulting his team, his Kastle, saying, do I want to take this one? Because this one's going to be the most annoying. I think I can beat the creatures.
The creatures, yeah, Decorated Griffin he doesn't have an answer to right now. He's going to go ahead and take the God's Willing. So it's just Observant Alseid and Decorated Griffin. I guess that pair in conjunction could be pretty good. If he just turns the Griffin into a 4/5 Flying Vigilance,
Yeah.
then Kastle will have to deal with their Angel.
Yeah?
But provided Kastle has an answer to that in his hand, yeah, I think God's Willing certainly is the scariest thing on this board. We do see Sip of Hemlock in Darwin's hand, along with 2 other cards.
Yeah, I think his 2 other cards are just lands right now. Why do I think Tietze just drew Heliod?
Well, that would be an excellent draw if he did.
I agree. For some reason, I think I just caught
The
that.
Heliod, God of the Sun. That is the card he needs in this matchup. How frustrating would it be to play Disciple of Phoenix 2 turns in a row and then have your opponent drop a Heliod?
Yeah. All right. Looks like I was wrong.
Maybe he just there's no reason he wouldn't play it. I can't come up with a reason of why he wouldn't play it. All right. One player's gonna have to. So Darwin eventually is gonna have to become aggressive here. Like I said, not much urgency to it yet. The only urgency is that Max might top deck Heliod at some point.
Yeah, I mean, he can't control that at all either. That's the thing.
Right.
It's going to be frustrating no matter what, whenever it happens. He has no control over that. I mean, and with the way that the game has set up, he can't actually make a game go fast. Like, they just got creatures staring off at each other.
Right.
Which favors Max in the fact that he does have an insane card to draw to, where I'm not convinced that Darwin does.
So let's see, if we look at Darwin's late game, what he's playing toward, he has Keepsake Gorgon. He has the 3 Pharika's Cures. You're right that he doesn't have a big finisher. His finishers are tend to be Borderland Minotaurs.
Yeah, which are just very
They're
beautiful
4/3s.
cards.
Yeah, he does not have a true finisher, which may hurt him a little bit in this matchup because Tietze does have a true finisher, but right now he's just going to see Decorated Griffin.
It's kind of funny because, Tietze sideboarded into a slower deck because he probably thought the Darwin's deck was his fast deck from game 1.
Yeah, he saw those 2 3s for 2.
Yeah, and so Darwin's deck switched, as you're going to see. Looks like we're going to see the Sip take care of the Decorated Griffin. So he sideboards into a deck that's good against the game 1 deck, and then game 2 he ends up losing, but now he's still this defensive deck. But this actually might end up working in his favor of 2 defensive decks playing against each other, except for Tietze doesn't have ability because, assuming that Heliod's not the bottom card of his deck.
Eventually it's going to show up. I mean, Darwin has to win at some point.
Yeah. So it seems like to me that Tietze has an inevitability in this matchup, potentially?
Potentially. Darwin still has those 3 Blood Toll Harpies, provided he's kept them in. Tietze doesn't have a flyer right now. So that's an edge to Darwin. If he can pull some flyers on the board, they should be able to win. But yeah, he has no bomb, so to speak of.
Alright, so now there is your All-Seed.
Yeah, it's going to make a Vigilant Siege Mastodon.
Siege Mastodon is, I suppose, good enough on this board.
Yeah, he just needs. I think he wants something that can block the Erebos' Emissary. We do see Grey Merchant in Castle's hand.
How much is that for
Right now it would be for 8.
Alright, that's a way for Kastle to win. That's a trump card.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think getting it to 15 is realistic, so 8 seems fine.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
I
Getting to
mean,
15. I mean, stranger things have happened. But
that card drains for a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Getting it to 15 would be pretty difficult. I can't disagree with you there.
And so he's going to go ahead and drain for 8 here. God, that card's really good. I keep being
yeah.
impressed with it. Yeah. Whew. It's a lot of life drain.
I wouldn't be surprised to see it get cast tomorrow in our standard open.
Oh, that's so ambitious. Oh,
I'm an ambitious man.
And play Dark Prophecy into it. Just get really
Boom.
devoted to black.
Boom, baby.
Really devoted. I don't know if that's actually a thing. That seems...
Come back.
I would like it to be a thing. That'd
Come
be
back
sweet.
tomorrow and find out.
Yeah. Stick my devotion to black deck. It plays lots of things with black mana. And every card with black mana symbols. Alright. And more life gain.
Yep, up to 10.
Yep. That is the Lagana Band Elder.
I think it's just going to trigger an insane amount of time in this format. It feels like it's just a Centaur healer to me.
Yeah, well,
with like
I mean,
one less toughness.
which is big. One less
Yeah.
toughness is way worse, but still pretty good. So we see a red card drawn by Kastle. He still has a mountain. He has, okay, that's Perforos's Emissary, it looks like, and yet another land. So this is his last spell card.
For now.
Yeah, and now that Flamecast Wheel is down, he can get it onto a creature. I imagine we'll see it get put onto Erebos's Emissary. I think it's still going Erebos's Emissary.
What is that? An expensive removal spell in Flamecast Wheel. Desperate Times, Desperate Measures, perhaps.
Yep, it kills a creature.
Yeah.
It's colorless. Anyone can play it if they want to pay for it. It's not bad. I boarded in a couple times in Sealed. I was not excited nor disappointed.
I mean, it's playable, right? I mean, that's a
Yeah,
start.
It's playable. It's also acceptable to leave in the sideboard.
Yeah, I mean, it's expensive. It gets the job done. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. You don't have to play it. You can't, it's not the removal spell that you have to play.
Yeah.
But it certainly is one that you can play.
All right, so there is your Bestow.
Yeah. He's put on the Death Toucher, which is kind of neat because now it has to be double blocked and it has Death Touch, so it will 2-for-1.
Good play there.
Well, unless Max can scry, in which case he'll just first strike it down.
Also true. Kind of risky, especially when Kastle has no cards in his hand. Or, I mean, we know he has a land in his hand. I won't say he has no cards.
Yeah, he has
He'd be
one card.
bluffing something. Yeah, if Max has a scry card in his hand. But I think,
I mean, I'm guessing that this just trades with something dumb like Snarecaster and the Band Elder.
okay.
Max just double blocks it on the spot.
Okay.
Not positive though. That I don't. Max is at a low enough life total. Yeah, that I think that's the play he'll make.
Because he can just take care of this now, and then the Flamecast Wheel is back on to take care of the actual part of Perforos's Emissary.
Exactly. So remember, Max just needs to stall to Heliod. Does he have another card to stall to, or is it really just Heliod that's going to get him?
I feel like it's Heliod or bust. Taking a look here.
Traveling Philosopher? No.
No.
No, it's just the one. It's the big guy.
Yeah, Chain the Rocks, buy some time. Heliod's Emissary is a 3/3, which is actually pretty good here. Hopeful Eidolon can give lifelink.
It's interesting. Both these decks are really strong at curving out, but neither of them is good at breaking a board stall at all.
Yeah, I mean, neither of these decks want to go to the long game like we're at right now. But again, if it does favor one person in the long game, it feels like it does favor Tietze because he does have the God to draw to, where Kastle does not. So here's a double block.
Oh, and that'll happen. That'll so both Snarecaster and Lagona Band Elder go ahead and go down. And they'll trade with Baleful Eidolon, a great trade for Kastle.
Yeah, no kidding. Kastle with just that mountain in his hand, passes the turn back to Tietze. Tietze going to untap, he's going to draw a card. What is it?
Kastle can draw a Keepsake Gorgon. That's pretty good. It's not a board breaker, but it's really strong.
There's a mountain from Tietze past the turn back, so not Heliod. Could have been Heliod, and he wants to leave up the Flamecast Wheel, though, to be fair.
I can't imagine that that's better than Heliod Make a Dude. Yeah, so Keepsake Gorgon's one of the cards that Kastle can draw to. Obviously, it's no Heliod, but it's still pretty good. It's decent at breaking a board stall, especially when your opponent's at 10. I think that would be enough. board presence to push through this board stall.
Yeah.
You know, start aggroing with 1/3s. Like I said, one of my favorite types of aggro. Guys with sweet come into play abilities and really fragile power toughnesses eventually getting aggressive because your opponent has no resources. Excellent, excellent.
Kastle drew a spell this turn. Looks like he's interested in attacking with some creatures here.
Maybe we'll see. It was black. I caught that much.
Yeah. But he's really kind of going through the motions this turn, trying to figure out exactly what he wants to do. Pretty interesting. Because I feel like Kastle's ahead right now. I mean, obviously ahead on the board and on the life total, but he's not so far ahead that he can really start making ambitious attacks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's this 3/5 that's going to just eat his things when he attacks.
Yeah.
So he's going to need a way to not let his creatures die to the 3/5. It's made... He does have 3 Farika's Cures. He may want to trade one of those with the Setessan Battle Priest. This is actually, of all the boards we've seen him play today, this is the one where I've been most impressed with Bestow.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, right now, we're talking about trading 2 cards for a Setessan Battle Priest.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's great.
So you see the emissary is going to come in here. I feel like you just fire off. He's going to block here. It says you got to block. Okay, so block with 2 guys. Okay.
Yep, and it'll look
so
like you'll
order.
just trade with the Adept.
All right.
And it's Farika's Cure is the last card in Darwin's hand.
Okay.
And well, he has a mountain in Farika's Cure.
Sure. We were going to use that Flamecast wheel? That's what I want to know.
Max is ever the patient player.
Fully aware.
I'm sure we will use it sometime. You know, when it's necessary. No need to rush things.
Hey. The reason I bring it up is because it's a 5-mana investment. Like, you're just going to keep staring at it, and that means it's going to be 5 mana anytime you want to use it. It means you have to leave 5 mana up to use it,
We're
which
not doing
is
anything
going to
else
be
with our lands.
right now.
Is there something so important that we have to do at the turn it happens?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know the way the game's going to break. But I'm looking for a good use of that card. You see, Phalanx Leader is going to come off the top.
That is kind of a game breaker. I don't know how much targeting Max has left in his deck.
Doesn't feel like a lot, and it's going to bite the dust right now anyway. Freakish Cure is going to kill it. I think Kastle thinking it's not going to get any better than this.
Well, this does take away one of his ways to deal with the Setessan Battle Priest.
I feel like now he's just going to try to power through it.
Can he? Maybe. It depends on his draws. I think really Keepsake Gorgon is the card Castle's drawing to.
Yeah.
Remember, Kastle does also have a Read the Bones, which he possibly could have boarded in when he switches to black. He has a Read the Bones in his black.
Would be great here.
Yeah, so he is a little better at finding his bomb.
All right, so he's going to fire this off and take care of the emissary, which was something I was hoping that Tietze would do.
All right, so there you go.
What was that draw?
Fellhide Minotaur.
Okay. That's just a 2/3, yeah?
That is a 2/3. And did Kastle play? No, he didn't play out that land.
No, he's definitely going to hold that forever.
That's one of those things, I think, eventually when I get to this board state, my opponent just continues to have 1 card in his hand. I'm just like, yeah, that's a land.
Yeah.
It's like a land. If I didn't have an enchantment in play, it might be a naturalize. You know, depending on my opponent's colors. But it's probably just a land.
Yeah, I mean, better to hold it than... I think better to hold it than not hold it. At least make your opponent second guess themselves. Tietze draws a card. Checking for Heliod.
And also, it looks like Dougherty and Davis also still on game 2.
Yep.
And Fellhide Minotaur is one angry-looking Minotaur.
Yeah, I was going to comment on the picture too. That's just that picture is awesome. I'm sure the story is even better.
I really like my favorite part of the card is that its quote is from the Theriad, which is like the Iliad, but it's the Theros version.
Sure.
Yeah, it's the epic novel, the Theriad.
Here's Rage of Porphyros.
All right.
Bottom for the scry. So, not Heliod on top, obviously.
Yep.
Get a little bit deeper. Can he attack yet?
Rage. So it's interesting. So Rage takes down Grave Merchant of Asphodel. I think just because Max is trying to find Heliod. You know, it's not that he's worried about the Grave Merchant. It's like, no, he actually just needs to scry.
Yeah.
It's really a race.
He's just, I just want to find this card. If I find this card, you cannot win.
I don't know how Black-Red, if there's an answer in Black-Red to deal with that. As far as I can think, there is not.
My gut tells me no.
So
He's going to take a look at the graveyard here.
I really think it is Keepsake Gorgon versus Heliod. But Gorgon, I think Gorgon breaks the board almost as hard right now for Darwin.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So it's a top deck war.
Yeah. I mean, they're drawing other cards and stuff of that nature, but at the end of the day, it's, Tietze coming in.
Yeah, March of the Returned also exists in Darwin's deck. I don't know if he boarded it in. That's the double raise dead effect.
Black
Boom.
card drawn.
Boom. Keepsake Gorgon.
You draw the Gorgon?
Drawn.
Wow.
He drew the Gorgon.
Insane. Insane.
He wins the top deck race. So, granted, there's a little bit of a break back potential. Max has about 2 turns to draw Heliod here.
Yeah.
I would say.
I agree.
This draw or the next. If it's not one of those, then he's going to get Gorgon.
God, insane draw from Kastle.
Well, one of them had to draw one of them eventually.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
You know, the game has to end at some
Yeah.
point. Unless they're both the bottom cards, in which the game becomes hilarious because neither player wins and someone decks.
Yeah. He's really hoping to fade that card. Here's some mana.
Oh man,
A
is it a
bunch
removal spell?
of it.
Is it a removal spell for the Gorgon?
Uh,
Is it another aura for the Battle Priest? Oh, I love this.
Is that hopeful? Is that the it's Heliod's
Heliod's
Emissary?
Emissary,
Yeah.
I love it when you have more auras. All right.
So you can get in the red zone here and tap the Gorgon.
I don't even know if you do tap the Gorgon. I think you want to kill. I think you'd be happy to trade it with the Gorgon.
Okay, that's
I would
actually
tap
that's actually
something else.
legit. Yeah, that's
Yep.
actually legit. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I would dare him to block with the
Yeah,
Gorgon.
that's legitimate.
And the Gorgon's gonna monster us and kill that Battle Priest anyway.
And then it's still going to be a problem because it's around with it. It's
It's a 3/6
Yeah,
death
it's a
touch.
death
It's
touch, yeah.
huge.
so big. Castle draws another land.
All right.
5, 6, 7, 9. So 11 lands drawn so far.
Yep. More than enough to make his Gorgon a monster. What he can do here, and I kind of like if he wants to race and attack, is if he swings the team and then monsters the Gorgon after blockers are declared. So that way he doesn't lose a creature. Otherwise he's going to lose creatures on the attack.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
It's kind of a strange attack. I think if you're going to attack, that's the play you make. Flight tilts have gotten a fair amount closer, so that Darwin has to be careful he doesn't lose a race.
Yeah, Darwin's being chipped down a little bit here. It's taken a little while. I mean, he is sitting at 18, 2 below 20, which is starting life total. But again, Tietze is chipping away.
Yeah. Tietze also has the ability to remove Keepsake Gorgon. Darwin can't remove the possible Heliod.
Yeah.
Debating, I think it's just a swing of everything. If you're going to be attacking, right?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. If it's swing with everything, whatever gets blocked, then the Gorgon activation kills the creature, so that the creature that does get blocked doesn't die, and you get through your necessary points of damage.
Yeah, he'll get through 4, probably. He'll
Yeah.
probably just block the Gorgon. But that's
Gorgon.
fine. That's fine to block the Gorgon.
See if
Are you worried at all in that situation, though, about getting outraced?
a touch.
Now he's going to go ahead and monsters at pre-combat. So it looks like he is going the conservative route. And that means he's probably just going to swing Keepsake Gorgon.
Yeah, most likely, yeah. So I mean, that's the only attack you can have now.
Yeah, I guess this attack only does 3 damage. The other attack did 4, so it's 1 point of damage, but this way Kastle gets to keep around blockers.
Yeah.
The other one is only 1 point more. That might not even be a turn.
Tietze draws a card.
So relevant draws for Tietze right now would be
Heliod.
Heliod's the most relevant. Yes, yes it is. That's a good one. He could also draw Chain to the Rocks. He could draw...
Chain of the Rocks would be awesome.
He could draw Wingsteed Rider. That's not bad. It's not great. And Portent of Betrayal is a thing. He
Yeah.
could steal a creature. I don't know if he still kept that card in, though. That's not. If he assumes his opponent's on a really little creature's aggro deck, that card's pretty bad.
4 mana.
4 mana, steal a 2/2 is not very exciting. 4 mana, steal your opponent's 6-drop, way cooler.
How about 4 mana Hopeful Eidolon?
Ooh, how about 4 mana? We got this big lifelink dude who taps things.
So that's going to slow that Gorgon down quite a bit. But then the
It's
Gorgon just
actually
gets tapped, so...
it's gonna make it make life totals go the wrong way.
Yeah. That was a very big draw there. So hopefully, you see on the screen, the bestow cost of 4, just giving +1/+1 and lifelink. The +1 and +1 and lifelink right now is pretty good.
The card is a lot stronger, I think, than we initially thought.
I feel like I was really, really off about this card. I don't feel like it's a card that you... I don't want to say never play for 1 mana, but I think it's rare that you play it for 1 mana.
Well, 1/1 lifelinks aren't good cards.
How dare you?
Unless you have something sweet to... I guess I would rather bestow something else onto Hopeful Eidolon than bestow Hopeful Eidolon onto the other thing.
Yeah.
Like, I really wish that this Emissary and the Eidolon had their role switched right now. So that when they killed the thing, you got the elk instead of the 1/1. But Darwin can't race. He's taken away Darwin has 3 lands, and Max has once again created a board stall. But now Darwin has fewer ways to break it.
And that means that Heliod is even better now. Yes. Believe it or not.
So we still have Dougherty.
Yeah, Dougherty Davis still battling. Still just grinding it out. Here comes the attacks. So attack for 5.
If Max pulls out this game, it doesn't matter.
Gonna put Tietze down to 8.
I'm confused by this attack from Darwin. Because this isn't a race he's winning at all.
Yeah, it doesn't favor him.
You know, he's getting 1 point, he's trading 1 point for 4 every
turn. I'm a touch surprised by that.
I mean, let's see what he could draw to. There could be, maybe he has a couple draws, which just make this worth it.
And the thought process here could be I just have to try to close. Like, I might have to just trade some damage here just to try to get some damage across.
He still has a Labyrinth champion in his deck. He doesn't have any way to target it in his hand right now, so that's just a 2/2 for 4, but it's a very powerful card.
Staring back at 3 lands. So Tietze is going to start by attacking here with the Emissary.
Absolutely.
Tap that Disciple. Come across for 4. Going to go
Lifelink.
up to 12. Kastle down to 10. And Tietze passes again.
Yeah, Castle's deck's really short on ways to break board stalls. We see Rage of Perforos. Big game right now. I think that's the last. He does have 3 in his pool. Remember, his red. There was a reason he was almost mono red.
Yeah. Really good draw step.
And you've got to think that's being played.
Absolutely. No, my question here is, like, does he? What happens if he targets the 2/2, the all seed? He kills that. He gets in for 4, 5, 6. He gets in for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Probably not the best.
No. Take care of the life. Take care of the elk.
I don't know if there's any way he could get like hyper aggressive, but it doesn't look like it. So he's going to cross just for 5. Going to put Tietze down to 7, and then all that rage.
All right, it's going to go at the Heliod's Emissary. Does Max have a protection spell? So they have Battle-Wise Valor or God's Willing.
Doesn't have any of them. Puts it right to the graveyard.
And we see Farika's Cure on top for Kastle. They'll keep it there.
It's good to keep.
Yeah. Kill spell? Sure. Sign me up. And Kastle back in control.
Yep. Tietze saying, Heliod, I need
time.
you.
What point do you summon your god? I'm not sure how many. Okay. So 1, 2. 2 cards in play. 8 cards. 8 lands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards in graveyard. 21, 22. They're more than halfway through their decks at this point.
I'm not sure that Heliod can save him now, because now Farika's Cure is going to take care of the all seed.
Yeah, the Alseid is taken down by Farika's Cure.
Now you can turn everything sideways. All there is a 1/1 Hopeful Eidolon, which is
not much hope for that guy right now.
I was hoping you'd make the pun. Yep. I'm above the pun, as Jim Davis has tied up the match between Rob Dougherty and himself. So it looks like we're going to go to the 3rd and final one.
All right. Damage is in there. Yep, 5 damage. Max goes down to 2. His draw that turn. Something good. It's a white card. I don't
really hope it's not Heliod now.
Oh gosh.
Oh no.
Oh no. Don't tap 4. No, just kidding. I mean, yes, what a comeback. If that is, it's a 5 mana spell of some. It's Silent Artisan, which is Siege Mastodon.
I don't think that's good
but
enough
with
right
2
now.
white mana symbols instead of 1. It's better with Devotion. It's an upgrade.
Looks cooler though. It's a giant instead of a
giant. Yeah.
Big cow with armor. Actually, I prefer the cow with armor.
Also, another quote from the Theriad.
Probably got a bunch of words I can't pronounce correctly in there.
Oh yeah, like Althamone is in there.
You see, Kastle is going to attack for lethal, and Tietze is going to concede the game. So Darwin Kastle, the Hall of Famer, he's got one for his team. We're going to be moving on to the third and final match between Jim Davis and Rob Dougherty.
So can Kastle and Dougherty, remember, it was Ingram took a win. He got a game loss for the first win, or he got a game win in the first one. He took his match about 8 minutes in, and it was down to the 2 Hall of Famers to see if they could pull out the entire match between the two of them. Kastle has done his part. Can Dougherty follow suit?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have to put it in the hands of 2 people, it might as well be 2 Magic Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I mean, I have played, I think, twice against Dougherty, and I've been thoroughly impressed. You know that feeling where you play against someone and you know you're being outplayed?
Yes,
it's
I
like
do.
Right there. It was one of those matches. It's like, oh, well, that's great. I lost both of them. I'm 0-2 against.
It is the feeling I have every time I play against Paulo Vitor or Dama DeRosa.
That is another player which can inspire that feeling.
That's
Indeed.
correct.
He is also strong.
Feeling where I cannot possibly win.
Now it's like sometimes you can win because the better player doesn't always win.
I have beaten
but
Paulo
you know
once,
if you win, you're probably stealing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, I might win, but it's not because I'm better.
Yeah.
Jim Davis actually had to play the last Pro Tour. We were both 3 and 4 playing for day 2. I was super happy about my deck at that point.
Yeah.
I got game 1. I think he was visibly unhappy.
I would have been mad. I would have been mad if I lost you at that Pro Tour too.
My turns were literally activate Maze's End, get a land, go, and he would do 10 things a turn and draw 6 cards, and then I'd take a 5-second turn, and then he won the other 2 games, so it didn't matter.
Oh,
but
okay,
yeah. But I got game 1. I remember that was cool.
Was that you? You threw your draft, right?
Yeah, I threw my draft.
And then you 0-5.
And I ended up 3-5. So
okay, I just wanted to. Yep. It wasn't really for the rub-ins.
No, it's just true. It's just true. I lost to all sorts of players. Oh man, good ones, bad ones.
Guys, I just want you
good
to play
matchups, bad
I just want you to
matchups.
play
We didn't have
better
good
deck at
matchups.
Dublin.
I will play.
Is there a theme
I
card
can't
in
play
this
a
set?
worse deck.
Is there a theme card? Oh, there's a lot of theme cards in this
I'm
set
not
you
even
choose from.
bringing Maze's Ends to Dublin. In case you're wondering,
really?
I own 4. I still have them. They're not getting picked.
I hope that Mason wins the Pro Tour. And you
Good for it.
You were just one tournament
Good
too
for
early.
it. Yep. Good job, Maze's End. You won the Pro Tour. Congratulations.
Peter Ingram here giving Jim Davis a back rub. His teammate, Grand Prix Miami, top 8 competitor. Yes, the chops. I think that's a technical term.
No back rub for Rob. He doesn't even have teammates behind him. It's just unfair.
Yeah. Here we go. Good arm action. Really just got to admire it. That's just the teamwork.
I know.
Here. If you guys are just joining us, Cedric Phillips, Matthias Hunt here. Star City Games Open Series here in Worcester, Massachusetts. Late on this Saturday evening. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us all evening long. If you do want to join us on Twitter, tell us about your massage skills at SCG Live, hashtag SCGWOR. Feel free.
So remember, the winner of this will be team drafting tomorrow morning against Curtis Shue, Gerard Fabiano, and Eric Smith, recent invitational winner.
And a Goblin token.
Notable Goblin token. So they're going to have their work cut out for them, whichever team wins here. But it's all down to 1 game now. We did see if this game goes late, we believe it favors Dougherty, but both players have a huge number of haymakers.
Yeah, I think if it does go late, it does favor Dougherty. And I think that Jim's deck, the way he probably wins, is just by ramping to one of those insane monstrosity creatures. Again, be it Poolish Crusher, Ember Swallower. He's got some other big boom.
Let me rephrase this. If it goes late, it favors Davis. If it goes late, it favors Dougherty.
All right, I can agree with that.
Somewhere around turn 13, it switches. Like turn 7 to 13, those are Davis.
That's the kill switch. Turn
14 plus.
Okay.
Suddenly it's Dougherty's.
All right, Rob, just turn 14. That's it.
Yeah, just got to survive till turn 14. 21 cards deep in the deck.
I hope Rob wins the game on turn 5.
Well, you can. He'd be stealing it at that point.
Yes. All right, Rob's teammates are back. You see Kastle and Rada there. And Jim's teammates are here at the ready as well. So a little 3-headed giant is about to be underway. Let's see who's going to be in the finals to play against Fabiano and company.
All right. So Dougherty, as he did lose game 2, but he's opted to be on the draw here.
Interesting.
I completely like it.
You like it?
Well, it's just about big creatures. I guess the worry I have is that we know that Davis has a huge amount of mana acceleration, so I don't want to get too far behind.
I think it's a little bit risky. You see Traveler's Amulet on turn 1 for Jim. A little bit of mana fixing here. Make sure he hits his land drops early in the game. Looks like he may have kept... okay, never mind.
I think he has Caryatid in his hand right now, so yeah, and this is the worry. I think there's also a Voyaging Satyr here, so Davis is going to get ahead on mana. I don't know by how much. Those mana creatures, as we saw, really became irrelevant as the game progressed, but right now they're going to be, they're going to be very strong. Dougherty's going to have to work pretty hard to not get too far behind.
Yeah, they're pretty bad late, almost just dead cards. Like you see Polish Crusher, the draw there for Davis, but if he can just accelerate creatures out in a pretty quick manner, like playing a Polish Crusher on turn 3, for example, which I don't think he's going to be able to do because I don't think he's the third land. But
yeah.
Hey, a turn 4 Polish Crusher is still perfectly fine.
Yep, he does have the Voyaging Satyr, so he still will have access to a lot of mana sources. Now he has a 3rd mana source off the Traveler's Amulet, a 4th one off the Satyr.
Yeah.
Or sorry, 4th off the Amulet, a 5th one off the Satyr. So he'll still be able to play his spells, just he won't be able to ramp into them. He's more just going to be playing them on curve.
He can even search for the swamp now if he wants to. Again, Jim does have just 1 swamp in his deck.
Sure, he gets it.
Yeah, so he can play a Farika's Mender with that card or his Underworld Cerberus.
Yeah, we do see Dougherty has the Bow of Nylea in his opener, but he didn't have any of his Nylea's presences, which has kind of been one of the defining cards of his deck. His mana's fine without it, but he also has the Lagona Band Elders, those aren't going to gain 3 life yet because he doesn't have an enchantment.
So there's the Voyaging Satyr, and passing the turn back
Yeah.
does Davis to Dougherty.
Yep, Dougherty drew Nemesis of Mortals a little too early. We saw that card be amazing game 1,
Yeah,
but not right now.
Basically won the game on its own, game 1.
Yeah, remember the second one won the
Yes.
game. The first one got eaten by an 11-12.
Yeah. Classic green mirrors.
I think actually it looks like Dougherty has double Nemesis of Reason right now in his hand.
It's
Of
pretty
Nemesis of Mortals, not Reason. That's a
Yeah.
different card. Yeah, double Nemesis of Mortals.
We're pretty far away from that point, though.
Yep, but that is the late game. So he has double Nemesis and Bow in his hand. So late game is Rob's. He's got to make it there.
Yeah, and the thing is with the Bow is that it can just get humped by Polish Crusher if that's what he plays.
Yeah, it is also an enchantment in addition to being an artifact.
Okay, so he's going to go with the 3/2.
Yeah, and Polish Crusher is just a really terrifying creature. It's a 4/4 for 4, monstrosities for 6, I believe, and becomes a 7/7 trampler.
Yeah. There's their draw step.
And you also
The 6/6.
And you were looking for this guy to see play Underworld Cerberus, drawn for Jim Davis. So he has Polish Crusher and Cerberus. This game may not go late.
This is how Jim's games want to go.
Yes.
This is exactly how he wants to play Magic with his
So
deck.
he wins in the late game. This might even be not even we said somewhere between up until turn 13. It's Jim's game.
I think you just jammed that. Yeah, you just...
6/6? Yeah, that guy
6/6,
can't be
go.
blocked.
Like,
This looks really strong for
if
him.
Dougherty attacks, you immediately take 3.
And
You
I
just
don't-
start getting in there.
I don't think Dougherty hit the land.
If he did, yeah, that's worth reading.
It's not good news. You have to block all 3 heads, each with a creature.
If he didn't hit the land,
So,
he's in a world of trouble.
The interesting thing about the Cerberus is that if you triple block it and kill it, you just get all the creatures you blocked it with back.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I actually didn't think about that.
Yeah,
That's kind of weird.
that makes me like it less. But right now it's insane because Rob doesn't have 3 creatures. It's just gonna deal up to 24
You know, I
damage.
kind of like it less now, too. Dang it.
Because if at that point, like,
I didn't even think about that.
you
You triple blocking, you're just like, all right, my guys are all dead, and I get them back.
Yeah. Well, that's sad. He's still good here though.
Yeah, he's absolutely good.
We
He's
saw
going to be coming into the red zone.
Chronicler of Heroes made for Rob and no other land drop.
Yeah, it's tough.
No draw off Chronicler either. He had 2 creature 3-drops with really aggressive enter the battlefield abilities. Neither of them triggered.
He could have led with Bow to make sure that those did trigger, but he chose not to, and now he's going to take 6 in the face, go down to 14. See what Jim's follow-up is going to be.
Oh, he has Ember Swallower too.
So,
That's huge. Okay.
So rares.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that if he monstresses this Ember Swallower, I'm going to predict Jim Davis to win this game.
Bold claim.
Yep, I know.
Really?
I'm going with it. I think that when Rob has 3 lands in play, if Jim reduces that to 0, I think Jim's the favorite.
I like
Yep.
I like the boldness. Because here's a Polish crusher.
And he's gonna save it though. So many rares. This is Jim's game here.
It's gonna be a pretty hard game for Rob to win, especially if he doesn't draw a land like this turn, which he did not do.
If he drew Farika's Mender.
Yeah. This is such a hard game for him to win now. He's just getting rared out of the building.
Yeah.
And if Jim draws a land here, he's going to have land number 6 to make that the monstrosity on Polish Crusher.
And it becomes a 7, so it won't even get blocked.
Yeah. It doesn't look like he hit it, but he doesn't have to attack.
Right. You can just swing with the 6/6 that you just, found lying around. The 6/6 unblockable. He can make Ember Swallower. The play is... Every line is pretty good for Jim right here.
Yes. I guess he can be a little bit conservative with this attack. There's the threat of maybe like an instant speed guy or something. But I still think you attack.
That's fine, isn't it? And then Rob loses his whole board, and then you make Ember Swallower, and
But then he gets it. But then he gets his board back.
And he has to play it one at a time.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
Yeah. There's Boone Satyr. Yeah.
All right. So is he gonna triple block it?
Yeah. I mean, God forbid, Jim Davis has a trick.
Well, he does. Destructive Revelry takes care of Boone Satyr. And, oh, by the way, so you know how 6 times 3 is 18? Well, there's the 2. So Cerberus just went from being a 4-turn clock to being a 3-turn clock with that play. Now Rob's at 12, soon to be at 6. So, yeah, that's actually really relevant.
You are the best math teacher.
Yeah.
Wow. So good.
That was a whole turn. That was really good.
There's a forest for Rob.
He has some options, but this is going to be tough. We see Farika's Mender, Bull of Nylea, 2 Nemesis Immortals. None of them good plays right now.
Yeah, for how good Nemesis Immortals was
It's actually...
game 1.
What I find interesting here is that, say he manages to kill the Cerberus, right?
Okay.
The Cerberus's ability is actively bad for Rob on this board. He would rather have the guys be dead, so that at least that way, if say all the guys were dead, he'd have 4 creatures in his graveyard, he'd tap 4 lands and be like, Nemesis, Nemesis, go.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's like, nope, no.
I can't.
Guess what? They all come back to your hand.
I can't do
Have
that.
some creatures. It's actually a disadvantage that those creatures come back.
All right, so there's a Voyager Satyr, I believe.
It's a blocker.
Yeah, it is blocker.
Jim can swing all out as a result.
Yeah, if Jim draws a land, it's a disaster, and still no
He
land.
draws Karametra's Acolyte,
Yeah.
so that's a lot of mana for next turn. Remember how we were saying that Ember Swallower monstrosity is not going to happen? Well, it's like a turn away now.
Yeah, we're getting much closer.
The Acolyte will tap for 4, so that went from 3 to 9 mana, from 5 to 9 mana if he plays it.
See Jim kind of shrugging his shoulders, trying to say, what do I attack with if I attack with anything? This is yikes. This is the.
Oh, that's the green. Right. Okay, it's Hunt the Hunter.
Yeah, Hunt the Hunter. And
that'll
that is
be
going to
enough.
do it. So Jim Davis does win the game and the match for his team. So the team of Peter Ingram, Max Tietze, and Jim Davis defeats Rudyak, Darwin Kastle, and Robert Dougherty.
So tomorrow